Alright, I really hope this works. I really hope this works. I'm trying a new thing. Now. Okay. Good day. Good night. Good evening to anybody who is watching this right now or watching this sometime in the future. I'm going to attempt live streaming again after years of not doing this, and I'm going to explain the process of how I tackle mixing an acoustic song. This is my next single track. As you can see, everything is pretty much recorded other than the vocals. There's some VSTs here, but everything else is pretty much acoustic. Now, the first thing I do, which I did in this project since I wasn't really intending to stream this live, this just happened, is I color-coded the things. Orange is main guitars, red is melody, and shades of purple are support guitars, and anything with blue is drums or percussion. Anything with yellow is bass strings. I like bass instruments. I am going to let the song play while I go make myself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. This is not mixed. This is just gain staged and panned. That's it. No EQ, nothing. I mean, there's some tiny bit of EQ here on the shaker, but that's pretty much it. Let's go. The balance is pretty much okay. Let me move this over so you can see what's going on here. We got a bunch of instruments, obviously. I recorded acoustics with an XY setting with two condenser mics. Then I added a quad layer, two more, with the same microphone in different positions. All of them were all of this was used. We used a single guitar for it, just one D'Angelico that I recently purchased. We have a slight bit. Obviously, I have a little bit of a bye-bye low filters here on the acoustics. A little bit of this is muted. This doesn't work. The group should not work. We have a little bit of a cut here in the reverb for not a reverb. This is for 1 second of the instrument here, like here. It's a reverse C sharp minor. I don't hear everything perfectly. Okay, now the first thing I do always when I'm listening to when I'm going for a mix, usually, provided that there's nothing like sonically and acoustically wrong with the project, the first thing I do is usually I choose the loudest section of the song, which in this case is the end here. We're hitting -6, which is pretty safe for a mix. that gives us a lot of room to work with, which is a nice thing. Now, obviously, this is a very guitar-heavy song. As you can see, we have a lot of acoustics recorded. So let's start by mixing the acoustic at the same time as the song is playing, which means I'm going to loop this section here. Okay, the first thing is that the melody here, I think this is the melody. Oh, that's not a melody. Is this a melody? Yes. I feel like this is a little teeny tiny bit loud. I'm gonna lower this by 1 dB. It sits a little bit better. Now, one thing I have done is I have grouped all of these 8 acoustic guitars. I've grouped them. This is Cubase 13, by the way. You can see that there's a new tab here to the left. The channel and the inspector are different. But I have routed this to my acoustic group, which should be here. This is my acoustic group. Everything here. This is recorded without any EQ, without any weird studio magic on it. So the first thing I do is we're looking for those weird like frequency resonances. This is important because obviously guitar is a very full range instrument on the surface. We have all of these lows here, all of these highs here, and we don't need pretty much a big majority of this. So the first thing I do is let's go for a little bit of a aggressive equalizer. Obviously my best friend for these things is FabFilter Pro Q3. We're going to listen for weird frequencies at the same time as the song is playing with all of the instruments. This is a new approach to mixing that I've recently learned. In the before times I would solo this, I would choose a frequency, I would solo it, and I would try to look for frequencies that are weird. But I found recently that you don't need to do that. This is called top-down mixing. You don't really have to go and EQ everything down to perfection. Sometimes teeny tiny bits of imperfections that are not destructive could actually give a lot of soul to the mix. This is my opinion, of course. So I'm gonna unmute everything and we're gonna see if we can find some weird things happening. Nothing is happening in the low. What I'm gonna do next is because this is a 334 hertz. What is the note? I don't want to ruin something. 334 hertz. 334 here you can see it's an E note. This song is in C sharp minor. E is a relative major of it, so I don't want to kill that frequency. This is an important frequency in this song. However, I need to control it a little bit more dynamically, which is why I am going to turn the dynamic on this on, meaning that it's going to listen a little bit ahead. It's going to dynamically adjust it when it's necessary on the 334. Something funny is happening on 1.5. Yeah, it's here. Obviously, this goes without saying, if you're watching this now, or if you're watching this in the future, please use headphones, because a lot of these things don't translate into any other speakers other than like big studio speakers or headphones. Hello. Yeah. 1.5. Is this an important frequency? 1.5. I should remember 1.5. As you can see, 1.5 is an F sharp 5. 1.5 is an F sharp 5. Obviously, F sharp is kind of an important note. That's why I'm going to make this also a dynamic EQ. I'm going to make it a little bit more, like, less crazy. All right, let's make this dynamic. We right click on the node. I got my nice. All right. Now this next part of this is going to be something completely personal and subjective. Do you like to have a little bit of a ring, a little bit of a buzz in your mix, or not? What I mean by buzz is obviously something like this. Just curious. I can't read this. Just curious. This is Ableton. This is Steinberg Cubase. I'm mixing this in Cubase. This is FabFilter Pro Q3. This is not a stock. This is a plugin. This is FabFilter Pro Q3, and we are right now in Steinberg Cubase. Now, next step, this is good for now. Next step is I'm going to, I want to make sure everything is glued together in the acoustic world a little bit better. Obviously, the acoustics, as you can hear, they are pan. We have one hard left. Okay, thanks, you're welcome. We have a hard left here. Let me just solo this for you. So we have one acoustic hard left. The buzz is nice. It's a personal thing. It's a personal choice. I agree with you. We have one in hard right. We have one more here, as you can see. We have one also hard left. Maybe I can move these two a little bit more center, because this is like the ending of the song. We'll see. Hard right. Hard left. Thanks, dude. Thanks, dude. I try. A lot of acoustic production is about mic placement. Even with a $100 mic, if you put it in a good place, a normal acoustic is gonna sound like a crazy dream. However, I do have one new trick that I recently learned. I'm gonna show it to you. Before, if you agree, I need to move these two here. I need to automate these two from hard left and hard right only for the ending of the song, a little more towards the middle. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna create two new nodes, one here, and one here. I am gonna make this, for example, negative 45 and plus 45. Oh, no. You, negative 45, and you, I'm going to have them 45. This way, when we reach here, the solo is a little more center. However, because we move this towards the center, what happens is that your ears hear these things louder. So you need to compensate for this by lowering the volume. I'm gonna go for negative 5 dB. Let's see what happens. Maybe negative 4. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this for now. One thing about oh, that's really good. Thanks. One thing about music production, specifically when you're mixing, is that you need to make quick decisions fast, because your ears get fatigued. Thank you. You're too kind. Ear fatigue usually happens between 45 minutes to 1 hour and 15, like 45 to 75 minutes. And that means you need to be super careful not to overburden and overwhelm your ears, one. And two, you need to work in an environment between between I think 75 to 85, 95 decibel in the area. There's a handy dandy app that you can use. I don't know if you can. I don't know. Let me find it. This is the app that I use. This app. It tells me which environment I'm mixing in, and if it's over 85 decibels, it's your ear is not going to be able to work at its best, and they get fatigued earlier. All right. Now I need to compress this, but I'm gonna parallel compress it, meaning I will compress it once before the EQ. Can that happen while producing as well? Can I don't follow. Are you talking about the ear fatigue? Now I am going to move a very, very slow compressor before my my EQ. This is tube compressor. This is the stuck in Steinberg Cubase. Any compressor works. I just like the texture this adds. If I'm not using this, ear fatigue. Usually it happens around 45 minutes if you're mixing in an ideal environment. 75 minutes in an ideal environment, and 45 when things are super loud. Obviously, the genre decides if you're mixing EDM or hard bass or aggressive music like metal stuff. Maybe at 1 hour you need to take a 15-minute break, but 45 minutes to an hour and 15 is the golden number, at least in my experience with my ears, and I'd like to say pretty calibrated ears. But the biggest thing is you need to always mix in low volume environments. If you go super high, number one, nobody is gonna listen to your songs with that high of a level. So whatever you hear that is gonna mistranslate into your ears. And secondly, ear fatigue. Ear fatigue is a real pain in the butt. Specifically in my case, which I am an independent producer, I do most of my things myself. Chill out EDM, so maybe yeah, 1 hour is a pretty solid number. Work for 1 hour, take 15 minutes off break, then go for one hour more. Anyway, compression time. When I'm not using the tube compressor that's in Cubase, I use the glue. This is, I believe, I could be wrong, but this is modeled after, I'm not sure, I think it's 1176. I could be wrong. This is a very solid compressor too. Just to show you, I'm gonna bypass this, and I've just added this compressor without anything. Now, see? Now, I don't know if you can hear this, but there's a little teeny bit of subtle compression that's happening. I need a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, where are we hitting? We're hitting -16. So what I'm gonna do now is I am going to add a threshold of -9. Obviously, we don't need all of this full range. Very aggressive attack and a little bit of release. The compression kind of makes it sound like the accurate, so to speak. No, yes and no. The compressor's job, and I'm gonna simplify it for you because this isn't, I don't want to misinform you or over-inform you. The compressor's job is to make sure that the loud parts of your recording are not super loud, and the low parts, not the loud parts, are average. So imagine like a brick wall. Imagine like you're smushing everything together to have a more coherent signal and frequency response. That's generally speaking the compressor's job. Obviously, you can use compressor to even saturate. You can use compressor to control the volume, but generally speaking, it's about controlling the louds and the not loud parts into a hearable, into an audible range. Honestly, I don't like this. I'm gonna go for my tube. I think I'm addicted to this. It needs to be, so it's like more even. That's why it's called a compressor. It compresses things that need to be compressed, which means super loud noises or super quiet noises. That's basically a compressor. But obviously, there's a whole universe of compression that I recommend you look up because I don't want to bore you with information. There's a tiny bit of compression here. I like this. Okay. Now next part, and this is one of my new tricks, I use a plugin called Mic Mod. This is from Antares. This plugin is a huge game changer in my case, since I'm working with limited gear. I have like two electric guitars, one acoustic right now, and one mic or two mics max. So what it does is that this is a modeler. I choose the microphone that I've recorded with. I've recorded this with an Audio-Technica AT2020. This is the mic I used. And I ask this to model this to one of the more famous. I'm very new to like mixing. No, of course. Don't apologize. It's just that in general, what compressor you need to for now, if you're beginning the universe of mixing, in general, compression is about making sure everything in your recording or in your audio or in your plugin or in your VST is heard. That's basically the basics of a compression. All right, Audio-Technica AT2020. I personally like the U87 Gold sound very much. I don't know if you can hear this, but I'm gonna turn it off. This is AT2020 flat. It adds a little bit of spice, nice spice to it. Next thing I do, and this is again my personal call, I like to saturate everything in your life when you're recording. It adds a lot of character to it. For saturation, there's a lot of different plugins. My go-to for acoustic is Saturn 2. And what I do is I just play, I look at my frequency. Soothe is always the key. Soothe has an E at the end. If you want to mock me, let's get your facts straight, dude. That's a joke. Just to show you what exactly a saturation plugin does, I'm gonna exaggerate the saturation. It super compresses and adds distortion to the high frequencies. I have chosen here. Maybe I can move this a little bit further down. And since we're on the topic of Soothe, if you really want to use Soothe, you should use Golfus. Golfus is in many ways more advanced than Soothe because Soothe works on a standard frequency response. Golfus is the more advanced version of it. That's how you add character, but I don't want to use Golfus because it fatigues me. It makes me lazy. All right, let's just listen without anything. Now, your immediate response would be probably, well, this is loud. Obviously, it's supposed to be loud because we're compressing things. However, one of the reasons that this is loud is because other instruments behind it, like the drums, the kicks, the shakers, and everything else, they are not mixed. And we're gonna do that. But before that, we need to add some reverb, like room reverb for this. I have two ways for creating room reverb. One thing is the old school, using a reverb plugin like Valhalla Room is a very famous one, or what was it called? I forgot. Black Hole, I think, is famous. But my go-to plugin recently these days is things that have impulse response in them. In our case, I am going to create a new FX group, and I'm going to add the standard Cubase plugin again called Reverence. Now this, I'm gonna name this Guitar Effects. This is an impulse response reverb, meaning that this is not a classic reverb, reverberate, and copy pasted after the thing. This is, they've captured snapshots of rooms, of different famous rooms in the world, and it is as if you're listening on that, in that area, in that environment. Now, my go-to, how much is Cubase? I think the base version of it, which is called Elements, is, I don't know, maybe $100 or $200. In general, Cubase at its base form isn't super expensive. Cubase Pro is the one that's a little expensive, and that's usually for like labels and music producers and people who are, when I say labels, I mean people who are actually mixing for multiple clients, which is my case. You should look it up. It's C-U-B-A-S-E, not Q as in alphabet. It's C-U, cube, and then bass, the spelling. One of my, I really love this French Stone Chapel. This is one of my go-to reverb rack rooms. Now, obviously, this is going to be super exaggerated, but just check it out. Let me just hold on. Let me make it flat. It's like you are in a chapel. And fun fact, I actually live very close to a chapel in France, and the reason I like this very much is because, my pleasure, because 2 Decembers ago, in December 2022, I actually performed. I had a concert in a stone chapel like this, but it was a guitar, piano, and a cello, and I was singing at the same time. And I love the reverb in that environment, so it stayed with me. Golden number for my reverb. By the way, always add reverb as a post, as a bus. If you add reverb on an insert, you are I'd say always, but like it's very, very much preferred if you add reverb as an effects, as a send, as a bus, because if you add it in the insert, you're changing your frequency, and that's your waveform, and that's not ideal unless you want that vibe. My go-to number is -15. And here's another trick. Go to your effects bus. This is my effects bus. And low cut and high cut this. Low pass and high cut this. Very aggressively. You may be wondering, but why? The reason is, when you're mixing this. Why am I mixing this in solo? Can you hear it like this, like the vibe, like the soul? You need to make sure that your reverb, like the sound after your main source is finished, that doesn't interfere with your mix. And reverb, it adds sometimes a lot of unwanted warmth by high cutting and low cutting, and just by cutting all of the extra frequencies and even dipping it in even in mid or high mid, depending on the song. you're letting your other instruments breathe in that space, and when they are not there, you're letting the reverb shine. Honestly, instead of that, one thing I can do, I can make a dynamic EQ. This is more normal. I am going to go for a, hold on. Do I have anything with low cut, high cut? Here, we have a high cut and a low boost. Okay. No, not low boost. I want a low cut. Low cut. All right. That way, when it's not in the way of the other instruments, it very easily breathes. Now, one thing I would do is this is a snap. I literally recorded myself like this, and I think it was one of my friends or my girlfriend, one of those. We're basically snapped into a microphone like this. And it's connected to the other reverb. Okay, that's good. Now, one thing I have done, I have grouped all of my percussions into a group like this. Now, we need to make sure everything here, we have, what is this? We have two shakers here? Why? What's going on? Hold on. I don't remember this. This is new for me. Hold on. There's nothing here. Is the instrument not playing or what's happening? This was a tambourine. I can't hear it. Can you? Oh, it's not bussed to anything. That's because of the loopback. Something interesting happened. When I was setting up the stream, hold on. When I was setting up the stream, I wanted to make sure that the sound card and the Cubase is looped back into the stream. So I added a new group here, loopback, which is not connected to anything. This poor child is connected to nothing. I'm going to connect this to percussions. So we have the tambourines now. Now, we need to make sure that everything here is heard. Now, obviously, our approach is going to be pretty much the same. We're going to begin with an EQ. This is going to be less surgical than the guitar, since percussions, in our case, which is basically like it's a cajon. I don't know if it's like the thing that maybe you've seen it, and it doesn't have a lot of high frequencies. Obviously, these high frequencies here, these are for tambourine and their snaps. So I don't want all of them. What I'm gonna do. I am going to just add this to our room, like the guitar room that we made. Ooh, that's loud. Let's go -10. I don't like this. I'm gonna reset this and I'm gonna mix it myself. Hold on. Funny happening here. It was the shaker. This here, our like 80-90 hertz. This is an important frequency. I don't want to ruin it, but this is where bass guitar lives. And I can hear the bass, which means probably you can hear the bass, which means the bass is poorly mixed or the drums are masking it. Let's compress this a slight bit, and I'm gonna use the FAB filter for this specific compression since it needs to be very surgical. Kick, compression, a bit of control, groovy glue. Because I don't want to kill the kick. I'm going to limit, I'm gonna let a little bit of breathing in the compression. Then what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna add my favorite drum bus plugin, which is by Isotope Neutron. We are going for, what was it called? I forgot the name. Is it a large drum room? Massive rock drum. Oh, this is my favorite one. And here, what's going to happen now, because of the sculpture here that's happening, because of this little bit of a tiny boost here, as well as the compression that we have before here, as well as a little bit of an excitement, which is in the full range of the exciting, and two compressors that are working in parallel to our third, you are going to hear a lot of pumping now. Let me actually before and after this, so you see what's going on here. This is before. We got the pump, even though this is an analog, like an acoustic song, the pump is there. All right, now what we're gonna do, we are going to listen to the first chorus just to see if our drums and guitars are sitting well together. I'm okay with this. Let's go towards bass. I have a little bit of alright, I think I'm going to compress this. This is bass guitar, so it needs to be a little bit more compressed. Okay, this poor melody is completely not with us. What I'm gonna do now is I am going to add this. I'm gonna bust this to our guitars, but this is a solo thing. Maybe this was not alright. Alright. I need to make this a little bit louder. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to volume it up. This is important. We don't need this much low. A little bit of high. I need. Do I need a special reverb for this? Maybe I do. All right, we're making a group with a. Let's go with. I have some options for my reverb. Let's not go crazy. Let's go with Valhalla Room, which is it's like one of like the standards of this of reverbs. Let's go with acoustic guitar room. -6. Why not? I like the reverb. Maybe it can be a little more aggressive. I don't know. I think 1 second or maybe 1.2 is good for its decay. Obviously, this is a guitar solo, which means if you're a guitar player, you agree with me that we need some delay. One of my go-to, I honestly feel like I'm being sponsored by FabFilter. This is not this. You can imagine this is not a sponsored stream, but just FabFilter. These people, these guys really make some awesome plugins. Now, my trusty delay for these things is a slapback. Let's go for a very classic 200 millisecond slapback. Hold on, let's go for a little bit of a higher slapback. I like this. I like this very much. I like this very much. Let's go to, thanks dude. Let's go for, I think we need a little bit of that, like tube grunge, a little bit of saturation. And hold on, I think there's something that we need to surgically cut through this. Let's go for another EQ. Let's go for this. Let's cut this. Let's cut the middle out. Yeah, it's 8 bars, but that's important. Now, I don't want to kill this, so I'm going to make this and this both dynamic. So I think I've added too much distortion because I can hear some artifacts right now. I don't like this. Alright, I like this, it's just a little too quiet. So we're gonna need, we may have to actually compress this a little aggressively. It is a guitar solo after all, so it's kind of important. Do we have anything here for acoustics? So we begin with that. We don't have anything, so it's on us. Like this. All right, now let's go to the piano. What happened here? Oh, I think I may have forgotten to erase some of the extra notes here. Like the extra stuff that we've recorded after the recording has been finished. Which is weird, because I usually clean the projects up. May have forgotten this. Alright, let's go with this, let's go with this. And maybe we can... Hold on, because I want to see what it is I'm cutting. Let's bring this in here, we don't need all of this. They're the same notes, same takes. Alright, these are not on the same time. These are not at all synced correctly. So let's sync them like this. Let's crossfade them from afar. That's more normal. And honestly, I like a little bit of a silence here, but I think we may have to do this and like crossfade them properly. And they're too loud. We don't need them to be this loud. Let's go for -5 because they're like exact duplicates of this. My buddy played this. I can't play this. I think we're using not colors. We're using noir for this. Noir dark. Yeah, we need to work on this. All right. So first things first, let's EQ this. Do we have anything for piano to begin with? Usually we don't have anything for piano. All right, let's fix this. Because everything is fighting in the mid-range to capture the audience's attention. We don't need all of this. All right, we need both of these dynamic. We don't need this to be dynamic. This is okay. Alright, I think we need to make this slightly wider. Let's see what I have for whitening things. We do have let's go for a stereo enhancer. I don't like this. This is too artificial. like this. And maybe the guitar is in the room with the piano. So we're going to do this. However, because the piano already has a reverb on it, we're going to lower the reverb's influence here. It has a little bit of character. However, we can do more. We can do more. What I'm going to do now is we are going to do I have a decap? I do. Now this is my second favorite plugin when it comes to saturations. I've used Saturn on the guitars. I could use Saturn here on the piano as well for saturating things, but Saturn's saturation for me is slightly less nuanced than decap. Maybe my ears have issues, but that's just how I approach. I usually try to use different compressors and different like same types of plugin families, EQ, delay, reverb, on different on like different instruments. However, with relatively the same settings to have the same essence, but a different tonality and tonal color on it. I don't know if I was clear. It's hard for me to explain why I use multiple plugins that do the same thing. I turned on the Punish, which is the Sound Toys' version of saturation. No, this is too much. This is way less insane. However, because of the what's it called? I forgot the name of the saturation. We now need to re-EQ because we've changed the signal. Should I use Smart EQ? I'm not going to use EQ. Let's just go for another Pro Q. So we have a lot more regression here now. And we're cutting these. We're cutting all of these for making space for the vocals. Obviously the vocals are mute right now because I don't want you to hear my horrible sound because I haven't finalized the vocals yet. Now this area that I cut, like 30, 34, 35 hertz, this will be compensated in mastering. And plus here bass comes in and like adds a lot of low end. I think the guitars are a little too loud now. Alright, let's just listen to the song, and I think the first pass on the mix is finished. I I am gonna turn the vocals on, but these are not final. Please don't hate me. And there's nothing on them. So I'm just gonna put like a nectar on it. Whenever I want to hear a vocal, what would the vocal sound like in a finished mix, I always use the angelic presence, angelic space. This is my go-to like preset. This is I changed nothing. I just want to hear how everything sounds with a click of a button.
Amour, une promesse, un signe, quelque chose qui nous relie au passé. Sans tes ailes, c'est facile de te toucher. C'est facile de te trouver dans mes rêves. Un jour, je te sculpte de mon âme, je t'insufflerai la vie, et tu peux vivre pour toujours. Pour toi, je crée des histoires, je crée un monde, et je ne laisse personne entrer. À toi, je promets le monde, je promets le ciel, je te promets tout ce que tu désires. Tous les jours, je te chanterai d'amour, tes prières et l'amour sera la sauterelle qui restera après nous. Quand le monde fou enfin nous trouve, je serai parti, mais toi, tu seras là pour toujours.
It's pretty good. It's pretty decent for like a 59 minute mix. I think the melody is a little too wet.
Un ange, un ange, une fleur, une larme. Ma vie sera entre tes mains demain. Tu sembles faite d'argile et de pierre.
See, I didn't really touch my snaps too aggressively because it's a snap sound. You don't have to like kill yourself with the EQ.
La vie, et tu peux vivre pour toujours. Pour toi, je crée des histoires, je crée un monde, et je ne laisse personne entrer. À toi, je promets le monde, je promets le ciel, je te promets tout ce que tu désires tous les jours. Je te chanterai d'amour, tes prières et l'amour sera la sauterelle qui restera après nous. Quand le monde fou enfin nous trouve, je serai parti, mais toi, tu seras là pour toujours.
It takes the pass for me. It takes the pass for me. The biggest, like if there's one thing that I hope you remember from all of this is that too much of a good thing is definitely a bad thing. EQing is awesome. Compressing is really cool. Saturating is magnificent. But if you do it too much, if you think that every element in your song needs to be surgically and perfectly EQ'd, maybe that your song demands it, maybe your song needs it, but in general, a lot of instruments, a lot of like different aspects of a mix, a good mix, isn't aggressively EQ'd, aggressively cut or scraped or boosted. Instruments, human voice, everything is supposed to be dynamic and human. And sometimes, in order to show this dynamism, what the thing I do, I don't know if what you've heard sounds good to you or not. But if this thing sounds good to you, obviously this is a 1 hour mix. I take more than 1 hour for mixing a song. Usually it's depending on the style of the song. It's between 2 hours, maybe to 4 hours of mixing, and maybe around 1 hour of mastering, and hundreds of hours of composition and like lyrics writing and recording. But this is about the production and post-production. Sure, the more time you spend on working on something like this, the higher the possibility of the output to be better. But the problem is, number one, I spoke earlier in the stream about ear fatigue. Don't overwork yourself, because if you think that you need to mix everything 100 times, it's probably with the recording. Something is wrong with your recording. A good song, and I'm not saying this is a good song, I think this is a good representation of what I think a good song is. A good song is a good song without any EQs, without anything, with just gain staged, maybe panned. You don't need to have insane levels of EQ and plugins. Sure, I use some pretty fancy stuff, but maybe I should do the same song in Reaper, which is a free alternative to Cubase, with the stock plugins. If you can hear the things, you can probably fix it with a stock EQ. I'm used to using FabFilter. I'm used to using reverb, like the reverbs you saw, or Decap, or Saturn. But that's because the first version of the first song I professionally produced, like 20 years ago, maybe even more, I don't remember. We used Cubase 3. So I've been living in the Steinberg environment, in the Steinberg walled garden, however you want to call it, for multiple generations. And this is Cubase 13. I am used to this because one question, I used to teach this back in the old country. One of the questions I would receive was, what is the best plugin? What is the best DAW, or digital audio workstation? What is the best interface? The best mic, the best guitar, the best this and the best. There's no best. Superlatives are just deceptions, right? The thing that makes you mix faster, more accurately, and without clicking too many times. Learn the shortcuts. Don't click too many times, because these things accumulate. They add on top of each other. And sorry, I just went into a rant mode. But that's how I approach mixing. I really hope this was fun. It was really fun for me. I should do more of these things. And I hope the audio quality is okay, because I looped back everything. This is live capture from my audio interface. I'm not like recording and playing things. This is live. I hope it's good. I'm gonna obviously watch it back and see it. This is the first stream. And that's it. I hope you have a good time. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying sane. And see you next time.